ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልኝ እንዴት ናችሁ? RENED-PMPhenomenon ጀምሯል. This is our podcast on project management. We're going to unleash project management and we're proudly hosted by Sewasew Multimedia. Sewasew is a streaming app in that it has been doing an amazing job in the music industry. አሁን ደግሞ educational, entertaining, inspiring የሆኑ ፕሮግራሞችን በፕሮጀክት ማኔጅመንት በኩል ከኔ ጋር መስራት ጀምረናል ማለት ነው. I'm your host. My name is ነብዩ እንኳን ሆነ. So በዚህ ፕሮግራም ላይ we will discover a wide range of topics on project management. We will be looking at project management from inside out. በሁሉም መልኩ እንመለከተዋለን. We will be discussing about project management concepts and standards. ከዛ በተረፈ ደግሞ from time to time I'll be interviewing interesting guests and they will be talking about success stories and we'll continue like that. እዚህ እንግዲህ የዛሬው ኤፒሶድ ላይ የምንገናኘው እና የምናወራው ቶፒክ why projects exist እንደው እነዚህ ፕሮጀክት የሚባል ነገር ከየት ነው የመጣው ነው. So mostly to understand where projects come from, አንድ ድርጅት ቪዥኑን ወይም ራዕዩን ካወጣ በኋላ the very next logical thing to do is ሚሽኑን ወይም ተልእኮውን ማዘጋጀት ነው. And based on that mission we have organizational structure ወይም በአማርኛ የድርጅት መዋቅር ብለን የምንለው አለ. So ይሄ መዋቅር የሚዋቀረው የድርጅቱን ሚሽን ለማሳካት ነው. And based on that each department will set up their own strategic goals. So እነዚህ ስትራቴጂክ ግቦች የአጭር ጊዜ የመካከለኛ ጊዜና የረጅም ጊዜ strategic goals አውጥተው they will be doing their daily operations and to-dos based on this system ማለት ነው. Now while this is ongoing, the ongoing operational work ብለን የምንለው በድግግሞሽ የሚሰሩ definitive start date ያለው ግን definitive finish date የሌለው አንድ አይነት output ይዞ የሚያወጣ አንድ ስራ ነው ongoing operational tasks ብለን የምንላቸው. በongoing operational ስራዎች አንድ ድርጅት ለየት ያለ ነገር መስራት፣ ራመድ ማለት፣ ድንገት ማደግ፣ ችግሮቹን መፍታት፣ ተፎካካሪ መሆን አይችልም side by side ወይም from time to time project managementን መውሰድ አለበት. ምክንያቱም አንድ ለየት ያለ ስራ መስራት ከፈለገ project management is very essential. ስለዚህ where do projects come from ለሚለው ጥያቄ አንዱ የድርጅታችንን ሚሽን ለማሳካት በመነታገልበት ጊዜ ongoing operational work ብቻ ስላልሆነ ስራውን የሚያሳካልን ፕሮጀክቶች መቅረጽ ያስፈልገናልና በዛ ፕሮጀክት ይፈጠራል ማለት ነው. ሁለተኛው ደግሞ ከስትራቴጂክ ጎላችን ነው. የአጭር መካከለኛና ረጅም ጊዜ ጎሎቻችንን ስናይ ከነዛ ውስጥ ተመርኩዘን እነዚህን ነገሮች ለማሳካት we will have our project ማለት ነው. So why do projects exist? እንግዲህ ፕሮጀክቶች ኤግዚስት የሚያደርጉት የድርጅቱን ራዕይ ወይም አንድ የሆነ ስትራቴጂክ ጎል ለማሳካት ቢዝነስ ቫልዩ ለማምጣት ነው ለድርጅቱ. ስለዚህ አንድ ለወጥ ያለ ሁሌ በድግግሞሽ ከምንሰራው ነገር ወጣ ያለ ነገር ሰርተን ራሳችንን ለማሳደግ በምንሄድበት ጊዜ we have projects coming up ማለት ነው. So what is project management? Project management እንግዲህ በዴፊኒሽኑ what's a project የሚለውን ካየን project has definitive start date and definitive finish date. አንዱ project define የሚደረግበት ዘዴ እሱ ነው. The other thing ደግሞ project have unique output. Something that has not been done before is considered as a project. So it is a temporary job, task or work which has a clear beginning and an end. It creates a unique product, service or result. And now this project is undertaken because it adds business value for the organization and its stakeholders. The benefits that we get from this project could be tangible or intangible, and sometimes it could be both. And projects are undertaken, to drive change to our organization so that we have a new product or an updated process from a current state to a future state. We're doing project because we want to achieve specific objectives. That's the reason that we are doing a project. So That's a project. What's a project management though? Project management is a science and an art. We call it science when we are following the processes of project management. When we are following the steps in an adaptive project and in a predictive project and in a hybrid project. When we are following the project management process groups. When we are following the project life cycles and industry standards and recommendations. These are all what's making it defined as the scientific part of project management. The artistic part of project management is your interpersonal skills. So these are related to your influencing skills, to your organizing skills, to your leadership skills, to your standardizing, strategizing skills, to your team skills. These are really one of the most important aspects of having a successful project management. So a project cannot be successful by just following the scientific aspects of project management. Project should be or will be successful if we are following both the scientific as well as the artistic part of project management. And in our today's podcast, I'll be discussing about the foundation of project management. So we're laying the foundations here. We're defining what's a project. Therefore, let's also look at something which is related to project. I'm sure you've heard the term program management. So sometimes I hear people calling a project a program, a program a project. They are kind of using this word interchangeable. But a program is really a different thing. A program is a collection of projects. By grouping related projects into a program, an organization can coordinate the management of these projects. The program approach focuses on the interdependencies between the project and may help increase achievements, productivity, and decrease risks. It may help us get economies of scale. It may help us improve the overall management of the projects. Projects are combined into a program to provide some sort of a coordinated control, supporting guidance. So you typically will have a program manager, and the program manager works to ensure that these projects achieve the program's objective. It is with good intention that you set up a program. I highly recommend some of the organizations to come up with a program management. So programs are really, really beneficial. So now let's not call a project a program and a program a project. A project is a unique undertaking that has never been done before. It has a definitive start date and definitive finish date. Unique output. These outputs can be product, service, or result. But a project is a collection or combination of projects. We also have something which we call portfolio. A portfolio includes individual projects, related operational work that are prioritized and implemented to achieve a specific strategic business goal. So the people which you typically call CEOs are your portfolio managers. Combining programs, projects, and operations into one or more portfolios helps to optimize your resources in the company. It enhances the benefit of your organization. It helps to decrease the overall emergent risk for a company. The programs and the projects that make up a portfolio, by the way, they could be related or most of the time these are unrelated, but they do make sense on achieving a common strategic goal. So we have something which we call portfolio manager or portfolio management. So why do we have it as the foundation topic here is because you as a project manager, for whom are you reporting? Why is your project started on the first place? Is your project a standalone singular project, or is your project part of a program? And whatever you're doing in that project now, you know that it's going to help achieve a bigger goal in the program level or whatever you're doing, if you are reporting to a portfolio manager, whatever you're doing in your project does have an impact on the bigger portfolio of your company. So understanding this is really very important. It is part of your foundational work. So projects are actually managed within the organizational project management context, and we should not have a project which does not add value to your company, which does not contribute to a strategic goal, or does not take part in making your mission successful. So organizational project management, basically, it serves or guides us as a driver so that the project, program, and portfolios, as well as other organizational practices, are all streamlined to make the big vision of the portfolio happen. It's really a framework for keeping the whole organization focused on its overall strategy. You know, the organizational project management provides direction for how portfolios, programs, and projects and operational work, how it should be prioritized and managed, how it's going to be executed and measured to best achieve the business objectives and values of the organization and the different stakeholders, to be frank, in the company. So whenever a change happens to the organizational strategy, this will or this may necessitate changes the current projects, and it might even initiate a new project. So know the big changes that are happening at the portfolio level. If a project no longer aligns with the organizational strategy, the project may be changed mid-course to bring it into alignment, or it may be even terminated. So program management, portfolio management, and project management, they all fall under the organizational project management. That's it. I think these are some of the building blocks or the fundamental topics that we need to cover in the realm of project management. The other thing we have to look at is the organizational and project governance. You as a project manager, you are bound to, adhere to the organizational governance. What are the different policies and procedures that impact your project so that you perform well, so that you meet the business objectives of the company? So these are the things that we have to know in line to making projects successful. So organizational governance is very important. So organizational governance has something to do with internal and external governance. Internal governance are all those issues which are part of your company, the rules and the procedures, and external governance are statutory rules, regulations, directives, proclamations that will surely impact your project. So on a predictive project, we need to know the entire governance structure around it and the details, and all the planning activities has to be concluded before we move on. But on an adaptive project, as the scope is broadly placed, and we're going to evolve towards the target. So it's lightly placed. So keep that in mind while you're managing your project. It depends what option you're opting for in your project, whether it's adaptive or whether it's a predictive project. So this was one of the building blocks of this foundation talk today. We have another topic as well. The other topic that we have is organizational structure. Our projects are impacted by and have an impact on the cultural norms, the management policies, and procedures of the organization for which they are part of. So these factors are increasingly important in a global organization in which team members are often located in different offices and in multiple countries. Today, it's really very common that we are working from home or even remotely, but you're a member or part of a project. So that means means you are a member of some organizational structure. So the best project managers look for these influences and manage them for the benefit of the project and the organization. The organizational structure will dictate who the project manager goes to for help whenever they need resources, and how communication must be handled, and many other aspects of the project management. So for us to understand organizational structure, there are three types of organizational structures, and we call these functional, projectized or project-oriented, and matrix-based. Yeah, just to recap, number one is functional, and number two is projectized, and number three is matrix. So let's look at number one, the functional organizational structure. Most people here in Ethiopia know the term department, so it is similar to that one. The word functional describes what it means. The word functional describes what function something does, what use it gives us, right? So whenever you have a department, you have a functional department so that it can achieve certain things. I'm just going quickly into Google and I'm just defining function. So it says here an activity that is natural to or the purpose of a person or thing. So let's look at the purpose of a thing here. The purpose of a thing. So the purpose of that department is its function. If you have an IT department, it will give you IT functions. If you have an engineering department, it will give you some sort of an engineering functions. Just like if you have a procurement department, it will give you anything to do with procurement related functions. So functional organizations are organizational structure where things are organized by their function, by their use. So this is a common organizational structure, and functional organizations are grouped by areas of specialization such as accounting, marketing, IT, procurement, public relations, marketing, security, and whatnot. So when you think of functional organization, think of a silo. A silo, gotara ብለን የምንለው, is something which, gathers grains of similar type. So projects generally occur within, in this case, projects generally occur within a single department. So if information or project work is needed from another department, employees are going to transmit the request to the head of the other department, who communicates the request to this department head. Otherwise, communications stay within the project and team members complete project work in addition to normal work. Why is it so important in this fundamental talk about project management is you may have a project which is initiated in a functional organization. So a project definitely needs the support of many resources. A project definitely needs the ecosystem, the business environment or the enterprise environmental factor to be successful. So in this case, it's nice that you have the project in a functional department, and probably the people who came up with the project idea are the subject matter experts. But the fact is, these people will not be able by themselves to make the project successful entirely. They're going to need help from other units. They're going to need help from even outside organizations, because we have dependencies. The 4 dependencies in project management are number 1 is the mandatory dependency. Number 2 is the internal dependency. Number 3 is the external dependency. And number 4 is the discretionary dependency. So here we have an internal dependency with other departments or functional areas, and eventually we're also going to have dependency with some sort of an external entity. Therefore, these projects are going to be impacted with lack of resources or coordination, issues like that. Yeah. So, but then there's something which we call functional organizational structure. Yeah, that's it. Let's go to the second one. The second one is the project-oriented or projectized, so to speak. There is no such English word as projectized. It's just a colloquial language which project managers use. So in a projectized or project-oriented environment, the entire company is organized by the project, and the project manager has a control of the entire project. So personnel are assigned and report to a project manager. The project manager is really powerful in this situation. Whatever resources, human as well as physical resources, are all streamlined towards the command of the project manager. In the functional area, when people are done with their work, they go back to their job because their employment contract is still intact. But in a projectized environment, when people are done with their job, they are actually done with the entity. Contracts are provided towards the duration of the project. So when people are done with their work, team members have no home. Team members complete only project work, and when the project is over, they do not have a department to go back to. They need to be assigned to another project or get a job with different employer. So communication primarily occurs within the whole project, and it's much easier for the project manager to lead and to manage the project easily. So that's the projectized. So if you have, for example, a condominium project, you have a projectized environment where everybody, all the department setup are all structured towards the leadership of the project. The third one is, we're done with number 2, which is projectized, and the third one is matrix organizational structure. So this is a form that attempts to maximize the strengths of both the functional and the project-oriented structures. When you see matrix, you think of 2 managers for 1 person. The team members report to 2 managers, the project manager as well as the functional manager. So communication goes from team members to both the managers. Team members do project work in addition to the normal department work that they do. And this is a very common organizational structure nowadays because companies have adopted managing projects side by side to their ongoing operation. So it has brought an unprecedented opportunity. It also have a little bit complications in regards to power struggle between the project manager and the functional manager. So therefore we have 3 matrices, like we have the strong matrix, we have the weak matrix, and we have the balanced matrix. In the strong matrix, power rests with the project manager and the functional manager has less power. It's much easier for the project manager to move resources, to organize things, to get things done. In a weak matrix though, power rests with the functional manager, and the power of the project manager is comparable to that of the coordinator or that of an expediter. Here the project manager has to use his or her interpersonal skills. They have to do a lot of networking, they have to do different tasks to make things moving. And we have the third one, which we call the balanced matrix. So the power is shared between the functional manager and the project manager, and these 2 people, they organize themselves very well, and then they work towards the success of the project. That's it. This is the organizational structure. We are on a PM phenomenon, project management phenomenon, and we're talking about project fundamentals. So as we continue, we have something which we call project management office. PMO, the project management office. So it's one of the departments within an organizational structure where you have a department which tries to manage projects, which tries to support the success of a project. And PMO helps in making communication easier, in making project management education easier. PMO helps so that responsibilities are well defined for all projects. PMOs help in making sure that budgets are secured and also budgets are kept. PMOs help make sure that reports are happening as per our agreement, different types of reports going towards the many stakeholders. PMOs make sure that projects have adequate number of documentation. PMOs also make sure that the right resources and skills are available to all projects. PMOs also kind of support the project manager, keep a schedule. Project managers are very savvy when it comes to keeping up a schedule. This is the very basic thing about a project. PMOs also provide different types of leadership. So the project management office is simply a department or a functional unit within your company that provides or ensures compliance with different project governance. So the office sees or oversees and standardizes the management of a project. PMOs are, so to speak, divided into three. We have something which we call supportive PMO, controlling PMO, and directive PMO. So the supportive PMO provides policies, methodologies, templates, and lessons learned for managing projects within the organization. So supportive PMOs typically exercise a low level of control over projects. I highly advise my trainees, my project management students to be a supportive PMO. If you want to master the project management framework, if you want to make sure that you retain the knowledge of project management, it doesn't stick by just taking the course, It sticks by taking the course, by doing it, by talking about it, by training it, by basically practicing it. So supportive PMOs have this opportunity in their professional development, and definitely their organizations also benefit from this topic. So the second one is the controlling PMO. A controlling PMO provides support and guidance on how to manage projects. They train others in project management and provide project management software. They assist with specific project management tools and ensure compliance with organizational policies. Controlling PMOs typically has a moderate level of control over projects. For me to understand controlling PMOs, I give the example of an auditor. How does audit or an auditor works is companies have directives, procedures, some sort of proclamations that need to be followed and respected. So how an auditor works is they come periodically and they try to add value for an organization by checking whether everyone is adhering towards the agreed processes. Therefore, they will check what has been already done, what has been achieved. They will do document analysis, variance analysis, trend analysis. They will do root cause analysis, different types of checks against, of course, a written starting point like a directive. So the power of the auditor is in the comments that they put in. So these comments are in line towards any variance or trends that they observe. So it's similar to that. The controlling PMO is also doing something similar to that. And we have the third type of project management office, and it's called directive PMO. A directive PMO provides project managers for different projects and is responsible for the results of those projects. All projects of a certain size, type, or influence are managed by this office. A directive PMO definitely has a high level of control. So just like the name suggests, these are directive PMOs. So guys out there who are managing companies who have projects as a business, I highly recommend that you have a PMO in your organizational structure. What do I mean by project as a business? Project as a business is anything that your company does repeatedly, and the business type is making sure a certain project is achieved. Let's say you have a real estate company, and when you take over a site to have an apartment, it's a project. Your success on this project will dictate your success on the upcoming opportunities. So if you have a PMO, it will be very much beneficial for all the projects that you have currently and for those that are going to be upcoming. It will help you create an ecosystem for your project. It will help you give induction course for newcomers. It will help you organize all the knowledge required to manage a project very well. So some of the functions of a PMO are they manage manage the interdependencies among projects, programs, and portfolios. They basically are a value to an organization. They analyze information from projects to assess whether the organization is achieving its strategic objectives. They help provide resources, and sometimes they even recommend the termination of a project whenever it's appropriate. Termination is not bad sometimes. If a project cannot fulfill why it was organized on the first place, termination is beneficial. Psychologically we have the thinking that termination is always bad, but then there are cases where you need to terminate a project because it has no value to the organization, or it will not fulfill the main objective why it was enacted on the first place. PMOs also help gather lessons learned into a repository and make them available to other projects. An organization should have a way and a system to gather lessons. Organizational maturity can be achieved if you have a way of managing organizational knowledge. So PMOs help you to develop and update this knowledge repository. PMOs also provide templates for documents such as work breakdown structure and other documents. They provide guidance and project governance. PMOs may have a representation in your change control board. We will be talking about changes in the upcoming episodes of this project management program or podcast. A change control board is more like a committee where when a change is requested, it goes toward these committees and they organize for the change to be done in a better way. So the change control, PMOs might have a role or might have a seat in the change control board. And PMOs provide centralized communication about all your projects to your PMO. So that's it, guys. This is one of the cases that we discuss in this foundational talk of project management. Just like we have PMOs for a productive environment, where in a predictive project management PMO is very popular and common, we also have another similar type of department, and it's called Value Delivery Office, or in short, VDO. So this is good for projects of an agile nature, for projects of an adaptive environment, where you have IT projects. They basically benefit by making it an adaptive development approach. So some organizations, for example, with less hierarchical structure and more adaptive project management environment, has a value delivery office, or we also call it Agile Center of Excellence, to better enable projects management in this type of environment. So videos are in a way similar to a PMO. PMO is good for predictive development, and video is good for an adaptive environment. So have these departments if you have project as a business. For IT companies, for example, you take up a project where you develop an ERP system and implement it to different companies. So whenever you take a project, this is not going to be predictive in such a way that you know all the details, all the workflows, all the customer preferences, but then you need to basically adapt to the moving environment, and therefore you have to make it agile. So if you are doing an ERP project over and over again, it is highly advisable that you have a department, a video department. Yeah, there you have it. These are the departments, the organizational structure, and we move on to the next topic. We're now covering OPA. These are organizational process assets. So most organizations have two types of OPAs. These are, the number one is processes, procedures, and policies, and number two is organizational knowledge repository. So what's an OPA? Over time, organizations develop or adapt processes. They adapt procedures and policies for the many activities that they have done. This could be in line to their ongoing operation, or this could be in line to the projects that they have done in the past. So these are all collected. It becomes part of your OPA. So collectively, these processes, procedures, and policies are referred to as the organizational process assets, and they help to apply concepts on quality, procurement, resource management for the project, as well as if there are any change control, safety, compliance issues. You can tap into the OPA and you might find resources there that you need to follow, a guideline. So projects may recommend changes or ways to improve the efficiency of these process and procedures, but they are generally owned by the project management office or other departments like the quality management department, who is looking into OPAs. So the OPA includes information on many facets of the project. They have historical knowledge bases, are maintained and updated by every project and made available to the rest of the organization as part of the historical information repository. It can be used to plan and to manage future projects, thereby improving the process of the project management and avoiding any challenges experienced by past projects. So OPAs basically help you have an estimate from different projects. From previous projects, you will have access to the resources used, who were the people used there, or what type of team composition that did they have, what are the physical resources that they consumed on that project, what was the project management plan that they used in the past, what were the project documents, how was the baselines developed, what are the baselines from the previous project, even correspondences that has happened in the past, any activities or WBS, work breakdown structures from previous projects. And you can also do benchmarking to other similar projects or reports, and you can look into the risk and risk response plan from previous projects. So basically the OPA basically is an asset for the main company as well as for you, the project manager. So other organizational knowledge repositories also include, the configuration management. It could be like file structure, file naming conventions, baselines or standards that you use, the templates that you use in different projects, financial data including budgets, the actual cost of completed projects, issue logs and documentations regarding defects on projects, matrices that may be used on this project or matrices used on a similar project elsewhere, the project management plans and baselines, as well as project documents such as network diagram or risk register or stakeholder register or an assumptions log and everything. So the OPA is really an asset for a company. So when you are appointed as a project manager for a certain undertaking, it's really your duty to tap into the OPA, know what processes are in place and follow it. You, as the leader of the project, you are expected to run this project very well. But to run this project very well, you need to follow the processes, the procedures, the rules that the company has. All these cases are very, very important. And for all the gaps that do not meet your project needs, you are expected to come up with a process. But remind you, this is just only for the gap where a clear OPA has not been indicated. That's it, OPAs. So I'll have a session exclusive on OPA in the upcoming episodes. For now, let's stop here on the OPA case. And moving on our fundamentals podcast about project management, here we have the enterprise environmental factors. So the enterprise environmental factors are generally outside the control of your project. This is kind of the ecosystem for the project. We have an external enterprise environmental factor and an enterprise environmental factor. And the external factors include government or other rules and regulations that apply to your company. And the internal factors include the structure, culture, systems in that geographic location. So resources related to the enterprise environmental factor may include technology as well and resource availability. So resources, as we know, are human and physical resources. So the project requires certain resources. So now these resources, are they available or not, or in what quality, quantity, or sophistication? This really is impactful for your project. So enterprise environmental factors are also related to project management. It may include your resource management system, your procurement system, or your quality management system and stuff like that. So since the enterprise environmental factor and the organizational process assets contribute to and are influenced by your organizational context in which your projects exist, they really are essential to understand as domain 3. That's the business environment, yeah? So the enterprise environmental factor considers organizational culture, the organizational structure, the internal and external political climate, the existing human resources. These are also related to cultural aspects, available capital resources, regulatory environment, such as labor law, approvals, national holidays, society, so to speak, sometimes social and market conditions, climatic conditions, geographical considerations, religious beliefs, and even competitors. So your project does not begin vacuum. Basically, your project begins in an enterprise environmental factor. So this enterprise environmental factor could have a contributing effect for success as well as for challenges or threats on the project. So think about it like that. So there you have it. I think we're done with today's episode, and on the upcoming episode I will be continuing with the foundations of project management. In the next topic I'll be covering assumptions and constraints, assumptions log, something which we call the triple constraints. We will also cover the tools that are frequently used on project management, like we'll be talking about data collection, data analysis, data representation. I will also be talking about your interpersonal and team skills. I'll be talking about your project management information system, work performance data, information and reporting. And we'll be moving on into project selection. Project selection, I think we will have it's better if we have a separate session for it. But that's it for today. Thank you for listening to this podcast. It was really a pleasure to be here with you. So this is RENED-PMPhenomenon, Project Management Unleashed. So we are proudly hosted by Sewasew Multimedia. Sewasew is a global Ethiopian streaming platform. It believes in creating a collaborative environment for professionals to thrive and reach maximum potential. Sewasew also wants to impact its community with positive, educational, and inspiring content. And I am your host, Nabiyu Nkwan Hone is my name. I'm the leading provider of project management professional training here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and I work for RENED Consultancy and Trading. We have a quarterly class for PMP, and we have trained a lot of project managers to achieve project management goals and advance their career. So with our podcast here, we are excited to share our expertise and our passion for project management to the Ethiopian as well as the wider audience. So please join us on the next section and discover our wide range of podcast episodes featuring interviews with industry experts. So we are going to dive deep into critical project management topics. We're going to cover real-life case studies and show you the power of effective project management. So listen and learn, be inspired, and transform your career. So that's it for today. Thank you again. Don't miss an episode of the RENED-PMPhenomenon, Project Management Unleashed. Subscribe to our podcast in your favorite platform, Sewasew Multimedia app, and stay up to date with the latest insight and strategies in project management. Connect with us on social media to share your thoughts, ask questions, and engage with our community of project management professionals. See you around. Thank you very much.